that's one thing that really stood out to me. These people were more in line with the whole lunar worshippers than they were the solar ones. So it's kind of interesting with that aspect from the region where they come from. And they did have a deep connection to like nature, you know what I mean? It's a big part even today with their culture. So that's what I want to say, because that's some of the allegations that took place. They were accused of human sacrifices and stuff like that by the Soviet Union, and that's one of the reasons why they were suspected of this incident from happening, is the best way I could call it right now. These deaths is because they were being accused of worshiping pagan gods and sacrificing humans to their gods and things of that nature, which later was completely found to be unfounded. You know, it was just ridiculous. So
it's propaganda.
Yeah. Now, not only did they worship nature and stuff, okay, but and they also they had a veneration for natural forces, and also besides the natural forces, they also believed in ancestral spirits. So they believed in their ancestors as well. They believed that they were like guides that told them, you know, don't go here, go here. Don't go here, go here, you know what I mean? That kind of guided them on their way and helped them through hard times and stuff. I think the scariest thing for Russians when it came to them is how they venerated the bear. And we've had conversations with Naroki about bears, so you know what I'm talking about, you know. People have like this fear of bears for some reason, and that
weirdly enough, the Soviet Union itself, one of the sort of imagery that was used within the Soviet Union was bears, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually their national animal, wasn't it?
Okay, I'm not sure. Possibly.
Because the United States is the eagle, and then I know it was always the bear versus the eagle.
Yeah, for those
you know,
the kind that puts on media stuff. Yeah.
Well, Britain's animal was the golden coin, the golden shekel.
I think lions.
What was it? Lions?
Yeah, lions. What's the standard? What's the flag that?
You guys have stripes. You have
national, yeah.
You're like the Confederate flag, but with more colors and stuff. Like nobody ever talks shit about your flag. You know what I mean? But like you put a Confederate flag up here in the United States.
It's not a Confederate flag. It's a flag of representing colors from each nation within the United Kingdom. What's this? Red for England. No, red for Scotland. Blue for England. No, blue for Wales. Irish green. I know. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it represents the colours. It represents each line, each colour represents each nation.
That was a pretty good bit of information that you laid upon us, Mark Edworthy. I appreciate that. The somewhat descriptive colors of the British flag. You know, I don't even live in Britain.
The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
I don't even live in Britain, and I shouldn't know any of that, but you should know that stuff. Like if I...
Yeah, I should know.
You know, I mean, like if you ask me about the United States flag, I know what the stars represent.
Red represents England and courage. White represents Scotland and purity. And blue represents Ireland and loyalty. So actually, Wales is not actually represented in the flag.
Well, Wales has always been a thorn in England's back. You know what I mean? Because, like, Wales, first of all, they didn't like the idea of being considered the same as England, and that just pissed the English off. I mean, I'm even talking about it.
That's true of Ireland, of Northern Ireland, and
Well, they have a reason for it, though.
Scotland.
They have a reason for
The
it.
Jacobites in Scotland, and what's happened up till what technically 1992. But yeah, the troubles in the 70s and earlier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have actually a reason for it. Like, they had their own actual cultures and country at one time. But, like, Wales, dude, is like... Isn't Wales where a lot of royalty and, well, a lot of kings and queens originated from Wales, didn't they?
I'm sure I would have to do some research on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
So before we get too far off track, let me go over some of this. Now, the Ural Mountains, okay, for the Mansi, and the Conti, by the way, both of them, they were significant in these guys' mythologies. They were also considered sacred. Now, don't get me wrong on that. I mean, a lot of people say that they're sacred, but I also found out about the Mansi and the Conti that they didn't like hold specific areas to be sacred. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have like altars that you go to and worship here because this is a sacred spot. You know what I mean? But they considered the earth sacred. Mountains were sacred, rivers were sacred, and stuff of that nature. So they had things. Well, okay, the best thing I can say is, like, I did make a note of it. The mountains are often viewed as a spiritual barrier between the physical world and the divine realm. Okay. That's how they viewed mountains, and you got to remember that these mountains in English means dead mountain. You know what I mean? This mountain that they were on meant dead mountain. So, and this gets even deeper into it when it comes to the Mansis, because, like, and I don't know how you would handle this, because I know how you are about the whole paranormal and spiritual thing. So I don't intend to really get a positive feedback from you on this one.
No, it's skeptical.
Yeah, but there is a lot of compelling stuff when it comes to this stuff. When it comes to the Mansi, and it's not because they were, sacrificing humans or nothing. It's because of the spiritual beliefs that they had. You know what I mean? It's those beliefs themselves. The whole way that they developed their rituals. You know what I'm saying? It shaped their entire the way of their rituals and stuff of that nature. So everything rotated around these beliefs, like the mountains were sacred and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And that's what people have to understand. These were very, very important to them, but they didn't like make altars and stuff like that in the area and said we need to make a pilgrimage here because this is a sacred spot. They didn't do stuff like that, but it was very important to them. Like I said, the Mansi and the Conti, they follow a form of paganism that combined animalism with polytheism, however you say, and ancestral worship. So they had a combination of all three of those things working together. Their spiritual practices are rooted in the idea that all elements and all natural world rivers, forests, mountains, and animals are inhabited by spirits or deities. So everything has a spirit. And animalism is where, what's his name? Who was the guy that came up with Dracula? Clive Barker. Was it Clive Barker?
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
That was animalism was one of the concepts that he came up with when it came to Dracula, because he founded it all on the idea that everything had a spirit, even the trees. You know what I mean? Like the trees actually had a spirit, the soil had a spirit. So did inanimate objects, I believe. Everything had a spirit, you know. And when I say animalism, that's what I'm talking about. You know, I mean, everything had a spirit, and this is the kind of stuff that they believe. They believed that the rivers and the forests and the mountains and animals, everything, they're inhabited by spirits or deities. So it had a spirit or a deity that was involved with it. I have some.
By the way, it was Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker, yeah. He was the one. He was the one that incorporated this idea into. See, that's the one thing that I learned back when I learned about. Have you ever heard of a story called Salem's Lot?
Rings a bell.
Salem's Lot kind of goes into that, and that eventually led me to find out that Bram Stoker is actually wanted to incorporate that too, because like when a vampire is transformed into a vampire, he becomes aware of all of these deities and all of these spirits around him in nature, and he can actually hear them. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure if that's if it was that was his idea or if that's just a reinterpretation.
Of course, it's a reinterpretation. It's animalism.
Yeah, I mean, not he didn't come up with the idea of the connection with Dracula, but I think that's a later idea.
Well, who would come up with it? I don't know of anybody who actually developed a vampire like that.
Yeah, the Dracula story franchise, whatever you want to call it, story has been rewritten many times.
Yeah. Now, I do have a list of these deities and stuff that they did worship. Okay. Now they have I believe. Oh, I have 3 of them that I can share. And the first one is Numi Taram. And Numi Taram is the supreme sky god in Mansi and Conte mythology. He's associated with creation, order, and the heavens, often depicted as a distant and ominous figure. Numi Taram governs the cosmos, but rarely intervenes in human affairs. So then you have him, and then you have the earth goddess Cultus, or Caltus, and she is believed to provide fertility and sustenance. She is revered as a nurturing yet powerful force who governs the natural world. So right there, that's where I came up with the whole lunar worshippers. They were lunar worshippers, and lunar worshippers usually take on the feminist aspects of